everyone, I'm Katie Knight and this is Can You Put Me on Guest List? Now, if you're looking for an uplifting, insightful, fun conversation, then you're in the right place. You're in the right place. Today on the podcast is an absolute gem of a person. It's Bina Fronda. Bina is the Vice President of Marketing at Ultra Records and has had such an incredible journey. She started as marketing coordinator and then very quickly went on to marketing manager and then to marketing director and is now the Vice President of Marketing. So she's had such an amazing and very fast growing career in the music industry. We talk all about her journey. We talk about what her job actually consists of, what her day-to-day looks like, the most difficult part of her job, what she loves the most about her job, career highlights, her career as a DJ, and we just have a real great laugh and a good chat. I met Bina over an amazing WhatsApp group called She Is the Music, which I'm so grateful to be part of because I've met so many amazing and inspiring women in there. But me and Bina finally met in person at ADE, and I'm so happy that we did because, you know, when you meet somebody and you're like, I really want them to be my friend. And I'm very grateful that we got to connect because now I can share her amazing story with you guys also. So thank you for being here. I really hope that you enjoy this conversation as much as I did recording it. This is Bina Fronda here on Can You Put Me on Guest List? How are you? How is everything?
Everything is good. It's a busy time period. It's like, you know, the post ADE where everybody feels super inspired by it and brings that inspiration into action. Yeah. And then there's also like, just like the end of year, you know, like the end of year madness where people are just like trying to wrap up the year. So that's where we are right now. Like I work with the digital team and all of like our annual like long lead pitches. And that's all we're doing right now. So it's cool. And then we, as Ultra, are working on like an end of year holiday party. And we've got a lot of artists coming to town for it. So lots of great
that's the fun part.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, that's cute. Yeah. We're going to have a good time.
Isn't it weird that we're talking about end of year already?
It boggles my mind. It was so funny. I was talking to one of my staff members yesterday and I was like, it was September and we were planning for ADE and I was like, start getting the holiday party ready. You're going to think I'm crazy for talking about the end of year. It's going to come like that. And then yesterday he was like, you weren't kidding. It's the holidays already.
We're going to be putting the Christmas tree up and stuff soon. All Christmas decorations, everything.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm already getting like, you know, the all of the like posts and targeted ads for holiday trees and scents and holiday themes and everything. And I'm just like, I'm not ready. Like, stop. I don't want a Mariah Carey yet. Like, it's too soon.
I saw this thing actually yesterday, BBC Radio 1 in the UK. They did like this test. They put on a Christmas song on BBC Radio 1 to see like what people's reactions were, and everyone was going mad. Like, it's the 1st of it was the 1st of November. It's the 1st of November. What are you guys doing? This is not right.
Wow, I love that. That's so funny. I saw a meme on November 1st, and it was like a meme of Mariah Carey defrosting. Like, wow, that's brilliant.
It just gets earlier and earlier every year, doesn't it?
Every year, yeah. I mean, literally, Halloween's done and that's it. Like, it's full holiday mode.
Yeah.
So,
and you're in New York, right? So yes, the holidays over there are massive.
Yes, especially in Manhattan, where I think like. This is probably going to be the first year where the holiday season is really in full swing because people can come into the country. Yeah. Like COVID is not looming the way it did last winter. So, I think Times Square is going to be like mental. Oh, yeah. Like I went to H&M yesterday, like to H&M Home, and it's already like everything is holiday themed. Gingerbread candles, holiday decor for your holiday hosting. And I was just like, whoa, this is so in my face. Like, I'm not
It's
ready for this
intense.
yet.
This is intense.
It is.
I know.
It is.
So were you born and raised in New York?
I am. I am a Brooklyn girl through and through.
Oh, wow. And
Yeah.
so on this podcast, I always like to kind of just start from the very beginning. And my first question is, where does your love for music come from? Have you always been surrounded by music from a young age?
Definitely. So I am born and raised in New York. I'm first generation. So my whole family's from Italy, and they're all from the South in Puglia, which has been somewhat of a hot spot recently. And my parents immigrated in the 70s and the 80s. And my mom's side of the family is the musical side. So my mom, her dad, my grandfather, my nonno, he was a jazz drummer.
Wow.
And when he immigrated in New York, he would play in jazz bands in New York while being like a pizza man in Times Square. Like the ultimate story.
That's that's what we watch on films.
It's The Godfather. It's just even my nonno dressed the suits with the gold pinky ring.
Wow.
Like this is my uncle's ring. I was like, it's so ridiculous. He had that attachment already in the jazz space. And then my uncle, his son, my uncle is my godfather. He was very much my inspiration. I was his shadow. And when he came to America in the 70s, really just fell in love with the dance scene. So first it started at the tail end of Studio 54 and the disco scene and all of that. But then my uncle got into house. So my uncle went to the Limelight and Paradise and all of the infamous clubs around New York City and played. And, in the classic immigrant story, we all lived in the same building, so my uncle's studio and my grandpa's studio, they shared it. And when my uncle would come home from clubbing at 5 o'clock in the morning, I would wake up and he would feed me, he would feed me milk while he's hungover. So I just feel from that, it already just started influencing my love and interest for music. And then as a kid, my mom worked, my grandfather dropped me off and picked me up from school, and I would do my homework on his drum pad while he was practicing. Wow. And then my Zia would come home and start DJing. So just from that early influence, before I can think for myself influence, I was around it. And then I grew up and I was my uncle's shadow. I used to go with him to record stores, crate digging, and he snuck me into my first club when I was 14 years old.
Really? What club was it?
It was Crowbar in Miami.
Wow.
And it was a gay night, actually day on New Year's Day. So I was 14. My uncle's partner at the time put makeup on me and just tried to make me look older. And I'm in this sea of men in Miami, half naked. And I was like, what is this magical place? And the rest is history.
Wow. I absolutely love how you've just told all of that. When somebody's telling you a story and you're literally imagine it and in your head.
It really is honestly, sometimes I felt like John Travolta, in Saturday Night Fever, because John Travolta had this love for music, but then he had to, he was sharing his big pasta dinner with his 8-person family. And that's what it felt like, it was just super traditional. But then my uncle would come in and play Carrie Chandler when I was 8 years old. And it was in my home.
Wow. So at what age did you realize that you wanted to make a career out of music and work in music, or was that something from the very beginning, or did you have other jobs before that that were nothing to do with music?
That one, the latter.
last
So
one.
it was funny because my uncle then, like, he left New York, and for a while he lived in Italy and was a booker and a promoter in Italy. And he was, like booking a lot of American house artists and bringing them to Italy. And then he went to Miami, and throughout that whole journey, he was always like, get in the business side. Don't make the music. Get in the business side. Get in the business side. He's like, be a music lawyer. He was always like heavily encouraging me to get into music because I was just by nature so interested. And I was always like, no, I'm going to do my own thing. And I originally was into visual art. So, I went to school for photography and visual art, but I got a marketing background too, because I was like, I'm going to need to know how to promote this stuff. And funny enough, I got out of college, I started doing photography gigs, and I was like, oh, wow, this is not for me. Like this is more personal for me. I didn't like the business side of doing art. It felt like it was too much for me. I think it was too sensitive for it, to be honest. And at that time, I feel like there was maybe a new resurgence of going to festivals. So I started going to a lot more festivals, and I loved it. And I would be at the festivals and be like, how do I do this? Like, how do I get into this? Like, how can I make money being here? And then I just, I connected with a festival in New York called Governor's Ball, and I started interning for them. And then an internship turned into a freelance gig, turned into another freelance gig. And before I knew it, I was kind of in the space. And that was a lot of fun, but it was for me, a physically grueling job that I didn't see like the path for growth for myself within it. So then I was like, okay, I like music. I like being connected to artists. How can I go a little bit deeper? So I started looking at jobs in the music industry on like the label front or the management side. And, right place, right time. I met someone at a party, and we were talking about just that. And she was like, oh, I work at Ultra Records. Like, would you be interested in applying? And I was like, oh, let me think about it. Yes. And the next morning I sent her my resume, and, a week later I was in the office doing an interview.
Wow. And how long ago was that?
8 years.
Wow,
which is
you've been there for 8 years.
8 years. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And so you started, to correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I saw on your LinkedIn. So you've done marketing coordinator, marketing manager, marketing director, and now you are marketing vice president of Ultra Records. So you've really grown throughout these 8 years. How has your job role, well, obviously it's changed massively, but what was your journey like starting off at Ultra Records, and how has your role developed over the years?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a ride. It's always been a ride. And I think, this is definitely something I always express to people this is the positive side to working in an indie, is it's so, in the weeds that you can grow fast.
Yeah.
Like if you want to excel and can show you excel, there's space for you to excel. And so, I started as a coordinator, and my boss who hired me at the time actually wound up leaving after 3 months of bringing me on board. And I remember he called me into his office, and I'm like, oh my God, he's going to hire me. Like, I've only been here for a few months. Like, what do I do? He's like, I'm leaving. And he's like, and by the way, I'm promoting you to manager. You'll be fine.
So that was just after 3 months.
After 3 months, that was my first that was my first promotion. And I think, he saw it. He saw like so much of marketing is being able to communicate with people, right? And expressing the good stuff and the bad stuff in a good way. And I think he saw that pretty quickly, and he's like, you've got it. Like, you've got it. You'll be fine. There'll be a learning curve. You'll be okay. And so that was kind of like my first road. But I must say, like, there was, and there are people at Ultra who fueled that too. So, I was really like backed by my peers at the company who, one, helped me grow, but also took the time to teach me. And that's, kind of how it went. And every opportunity, like there were many times where at times I had imposter syndrome. And I'll never forget, like, one of my coworkers pretty much slapping me all the way from LA, being like, "You've got this. Like, don't underestimate yourself. You've got this." And I am very grateful to her. And, I just was able to grow and grow and grow. And I think marketing is one of those roles where there's no such thing as knowing too much. And, you have to learn about every other department and angle in the music space that connects to the artist. And so, I've just been like absorbing and absorbing and absorbing of how to market artists and music and how all of the different departments connect in doing so. And, I say like I'm a professional connect the dots person. That's so much of what I do.
I guess it's also not just knowing like every different part of the music industry, but also I think marketing just is changing constantly. There's always like new tools and new things, and you have to be so on top. So I'm sure it's not just being on top of, new music trends, new artists, but also the whole marketing side of things and everything new that comes out constantly.
Totally. And I think that might go hand in hand with the growth, is because it's not a stagnant role.
Yeah.
You never say, "Okay, got it, know what to do, we're good." No, if you're thinking in that way, you're not thinking marketing, because like you said, there's always ways to market. There's always a new trend. There's always a new platform. There's also, one thing I'm always recommending to people on the marketing journey is like, it's also not specific to a genre. You might see something in country that you're like, this person did this and it was brilliant. Like, how do we apply it to our space, or vice versa. So, it's constantly paying attention to how other people are doing it, or being experimental. And I think that is constantly stimulating growth.
Yeah.
And in stimulating that growth in my journey, it's, have been very lucky that my superiors saw that and were like, and fueled it. They fueled the growth.
So what does your job today actually consist of?
Yeah. So one thing to mention too is Ultra was recently acquired by Sony. So we're almost hitting our 1 year where we were acquired, and Ultra essentially split between Ultra Records and Ultra Publishing. And so much of my last year was transitioning over. Our roster came with us, but, we had a lot of restaffing to do and a lot of learning to do in, an indie coming into a major space and learning how to work by like major standards. And I think there was also a massive learning curve for a major, accepting that an indie kind of had it like under control and had systems that were working and functioning very well, and applying that to maybe something that they weren't like used to doing. So there was as much of a learning curve for our Sony as there was for us.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was really, it took like a year to figure that out. And we're still figuring that out in this relationship with Sony. So I would say for the last year, a lot of it was everything that comes with the transition, new hiring, new staffing, just applying new structures to the way we promote our music. But in my regular, like non-transition side to the role, a lot of it is working with artist teams directly. So I also project manage many of our artists. So I work with them in coming up with artist campaigns, music release campaigns, any like brand or marketing partnerships that are connected to the music, but not directly the music. I also work and oversee a team of product managers. I work closely with the digital team and pitching to all of our digital platforms and partners. And constant outreach to new partners, right? So dipping into the Web3 space and figuring out how we can do partnerships in the Web3 space, brand partnerships, random like PR partnerships or partnerships wellness space. And so I'm always seeking new ways and new opportunities for our artists to connect with their fans.
Wow, you're busy.
Yeah. We do it all.
Well, I'm going to guess that every single day is totally a different day for you.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what would be a normal day like for you?
Yeah. So sometimes I have, for lack of better words, my get shit done days. And I'm like, okay, I'm not taking calls. Like, I need to plan out plans. I need to write reports. I need to get back to emails. I just need to get it done. And those are the days that I work from home and like hide in my living room. But it really varies, when we have artists in town or when we go on a promo run with artists, taking around artists to different platform spaces, social platform spaces, radio spaces. If we like secure opportunities, we'll go with our artists in where we secured it. So like, for example, we had an artist group, Sophie Tucker, and we worked with them in locking in an amazing partnership with the US Open in New York. And it was a shoot and everything. So we worked very closely with that team in making it happen in less than 3 weeks. So the day-to-day varies, sometimes it's on site in the office. Sometimes it's out with the artist. Sometimes, like you're in full schmooze mode and, you got to be out and about at ADE for like 72 hours straight. Not sleeping, not eating, just booging, just speed dating.
Been there.
It's real. So the day-to-day really does vary, and it's so easy for time to just fly by in that way.
So quickly. Yeah. What is the thing that you love the most about your job?
I would say it's the like on the grounds stuff. I love ADE. I am still like, I don't care that I lose my voice. I don't care that I'm exhausted. I just love being there because, yes, it's our work, but I think we're exceptionally lucky that we get to work with people that we vibe with.
100%.
So I just love that I'm like, oh, we're doing business, but we're having a great time in Amsterdam.
It's so true. It's so true. I always say that sometimes when, you have the down days or you complain about something or, it's been a really shit day. But then I'm like, but we actually have such fun jobs. We're lucky to have jobs that you love doing and to meet so many amazing people along the way. Like me and you, Destiny, met at ADE, which was just a few weeks ago. And here we are doing a podcast.
And here we are, and that's it. Yeah. Like, that's it right there. Like, that is my favorite part of the job. We also connected through, these incredible female groups between She Is the Music and She Said So. And just to have a community in the space that we meet through our, work, but then it just becomes so much more than that. And it's such a like safe community and a safe space. And I think being able to be part of these communities is pretty amazing and very much part of like why I love what I do. And that also is with the artists. I was just talking to a friend yesterday who's in the industry, and, the label work is so connected to artists and to management. You become friends with the artists, like it gets personal. And one thing I've noticed in my journey, and even as I've started journeying into DJing myself and kind of putting an artist hat on, is the artists that I've represented for years started supporting me as an artist. And so that's been a beautiful like journey as well. So, I think my favorite part is being on the ground, being at the shoots. It's like finally, a lot of it is also like matchmaking, connecting the dots. And when you're there, when you're like at the shoot or the opportunity that you help put together and seeing how it gels so well. Like that's my favorite part of the job.
I love how you said at the beginning, professional dot connector.
Yes.
That's why you said it, right? I love that.
Yeah. I need to start putting it in my signature.
You should. That should go on your LinkedIn. No,
yeah, right.
It's a really nice way to put it, though, because you're absolutely right. When you, especially in your field of work, you have so many different moving parts. To see them in one project all come together must be such a great feeling when it does all finally happen and you see it all together in one space.
100%. Sometimes I feel like a yenta, when you made a good match and you feel good. You're like, I did that. I made the match. I'm like a yenta. So there you go. I'm a dance music yenta. What can I tell you?
I love it. What would you say is the most challenging part of your job?
Ooh, let's see. Sometimes the speed. It never stops. It's like a high-speed train that never stops. And sometimes it's exhausting. And, sometimes, especially I think in the dance space moves so fast that at times, even, like if you want to do something where you take your time or plan something with taking your time, the space doesn't really allow for it. So that can be a challenge. And sometimes the challenge is like delivering the bad news. Sometimes songs don't connect or they don't connect as fast as an artist or artist team or even you expected it to. And it's hard not to feel deflated by that. And, we constantly, as a marketing team, have to look at the glass half full and be positive. So, I think it's at times those challenges of facing disappointment or facing the hard news, straight up being like, people didn't like it. We've got to move on and that's okay. You've got plenty of other great music. Let's keep it moving. I think delivering that news can be uncomfortable at times, but it's very much part of the work, So I would say those two things are probably the most challenging. Maybe also the late nights, your girl's getting older. She likes to sleep a little bit more.
It definitely gets harder. It's not the same as it used to be.
No, I nap before going out sometimes.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes I'm like, is that worse or is that better to do it that way? Because sometimes I'll have a small nap before I go out and then I wake up and I'm cranky.
Oh, yes, I feel that. Or sometimes I nap and I never wake up and I wake up at 5 a.m. Oh my God, I missed the set.
It also happens.
We've been there.
You mentioned before that you also DJ yourself. Mm-hmm. How long have you been DJing before? How did that all start for you?
Well, actually, it was a pandemic, silver lining, and surprise, happy surprise. So it was something I was always into, and my uncle used to DJ, and when I was younger, I always wanted to learn, but my uncle's teaching skills weren't that great. So he'd be like, oh, you just push the button and you twist it out. There you go. It's easy. And I would just look at him I think there's more to this that you're not teaching me. It just then it was something I wanted to do, but I just didn't make time to learn. And I remember it was almost 3 years ago now. I was walking with friends that are also colleagues that we became great friends, and we're each other's pods during the pandemic. And we're walking, and one of them actually had gotten decks and was talking about some challenges and learning it. And then I was just I always wanted to learn. I never gave myself the time. And so my other dear friend who became my mentor in the DJ journey stops and was we have time. We're doing it. We've got a lot of time. We're not going to shows. Let's just hang out and DJ. And the next week I went to his apartment. He started teaching me. And funny enough, he's been babysitting babysitting Benny Benassi's decks for like 6 years now. So I think it's pretty amazing that I learned on Benny's like decks.
I love that.
And like I kid you not, it was like I fell in love. Like I was a kid. I was so giddy. I was so excited. And then it became my lifeline during the pandemic. I was playing in my living room all the time and then with my friends. And about, I would say, a year in, Sophie Tucker, who I work very closely with, during the pandemic, they started doing a daily DJ set live stream, 30 minutes every day for almost 2 straight years.
Wow.
And Sophie of Sophie Tucker had also started learning how to play, because at that point, Tucker of the band was the primary like DJ. She would sing and play and dance and everything. But then during the pandemic, she started learning how to play on her own as well. And she started doing like solo live streams too. So their live stream, they started opening it up to friends and fans. And they also helped out with LPGOB's Femme House live stream and Twitch channel. So, I met up with them and one day, and I was talking about like my journey with Sophie, and she was like, you should DJ for the Femme House live stream. Like their whole thing is about showcasing like local and rising female identifying talent. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not ready. I just DJ in my living room. Like, no, thank you. And my mentor, friend, coworker, like brother from another mother was like, she'll do it. I will help her. She'll do it. She'll do it. And 1 week later, not even a full week later, I was in his living room, green screen. He was like handling my Twitch account and my chat room and everything. And that was my first like interaction with other human beings while playing. And when that happened, I made my Instagram public, which, I'm a very private person. Like at that point was like, if I don't know you, like, I don't want you to see what I do with my life. And at that point I was like, all right, let me just like open the door a little bit. And then I started posting about it, and industry friends and other friends were like, you DJ? Oh my gosh, you should do this. You should do that. You should do this. You should do that.
Wow. So it snowballed.
It did. And actually, like my first live gig was at Lollapalooza, which was wild. So, I had a friend who was working with Bud Light. And Bud Light had stages at many major festivals across the US. And they had full on like lineups at those stages. And they wanted DJs to kind of like keep the crowd going. And so, I wound up working with them on that. And then I wound up like curating the DJ stages for a few of the festivals. And they asked me to play as well. And at this point, I've never played in front of like people in real life. I had no idea what to expect. I was in Chicago. Like I had a friend come with me because I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what's happening right now. And, it happened and it was brilliant. And it like, talk about connecting the dots. Like I had an aha moment where I was like, I can't believe I waited this long for this to happen. It was amazing. It was amazing. I had so much fun playing. I got such a high off of people dancing with me. And because of, the music I shared for them. And well, from there, the journey just like, we're out here.
How exciting. That is so exciting.
Yeah, it's been great. And then, that's the thing, like in working with so many of these artists that I've worked with for a long time, I've worked with Sophie Tucker for more than 6 years. Like they've come to see me play and it's just amazing.
It's like a full circle. That's so nice.
Yeah.
That is really connecting all the dots. Like just everything then comes together. And as you were saying at the beginning of the chat, you were talking about, you have to know like all different sides of the music industry and now like this is something else that you've learned, like, from an artist's point of view as well. So I'm sure that opens a lot of different windows and ways of thinking as well in your job.
100%. I have such a deeper perspective on that, on how they tour, on how they prepare, on how they select music, on, it's a whole other thing. Like I have the utmost respect for touring artists and people who tour like intensely. I bless them.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
If you had to choose 3 career highlights so far, either whether it's with Ultra Records or DJing, what 3 highlights would they be?
Whew, crazy. I would say on the DJ side, it was Lala. It was that there was a moment where, my set was only supposed to be an hour and a half, which is still like a nice amount of time. There was a moment where the crowd was just too lit and happy and excited and dancing and engaged that right as I like finished my last song, the producers like come on the stage and like, keep it going. Like, it's too good. Like, keep it going. So I wound up playing for another like 30 minutes and I wound up doing like a full 2-hour set for my first show with a crowd that was just so happy to be there. And for me, that was just like a wow moment, like such a highlight, like the feeling that I had. Like the next morning, the first thing I did, I went to a cafe and I wrote it all down because I was like, I never want to forget this moment. So I would say that's one of my personal, in my DJ journey, highlights. I would say other highlights, growing with many of the artists such as Sophie Tucker and Annabelle England, who have been beyond invested in their growth, and to be able to see that, like I met Sophie Tucker at Soho House 7 years ago at a random party, and to meeting them there, to seeing them at Baby's All Right, and then seeing them play 7,000 person headlining shows, and to see that growth and know that I was very much part of the team that did that, saw that, created that, is an overall highlight. And many of those artists, Annabelle England, Benny, and I can't account for his legacy because I was a little youngin' then, but to be able to learn and grow from his team has been, like such a great blessing. And I would say, I don't know if it's like less of a highlight, but just the growth at Ultra, the fact that I've just been able to like fuel and learn and grow and fuel and learn and grow. And this transition has been such a growth spurt for me that even that is a highlight in and of itself. I really do feel like I learned so much, grasped so much, and gave so much in this last year. So just like a blooming flower.
Oh, wow, Bina, you've had like having such an exciting career. I could literally just sit and listen to you for ages. I'm loving this. Honestly, so lovely. Just to end, I have the same question for everybody because the podcast is called Can You Put Me on Guest List? And my question is, do you have a guest list rule?
Whew, woosah. So I had to really think about this question, and I'm going to make it 2-part.
Okay.
Because there's a business part and then there's a DJ part.
Okay.
And on the business part, I think my rule is if I'm asking for a guest list, show up, right? Like show up, because that guest list slot means a lot. And it means a lot for the small artists or the developing artists who probably have a guest list slot of 3 people. And it means a lot for the bigger artists who, even through thick and thin, you still show up for them. And they notice that. They will always notice that. So I think like that's been a big rule of thumb for me. And then on the other DJ side, like on that side, as a DJ, putting people on the guest list, I've learned to accept that not everybody's going to always show up all the time, and you can't hate them. But you can't be mad. You can't be mad. Shit happens. You can't be mad. But, I think also just like, I've learned like I have to fuel my own growth. Like sometimes if I have to buy tickets because I only have a guest list of 2, it's for my own growth. I'm investing in myself. Yeah. So, it's like show up for others, but don't be upset if they don't show up for you all the time,
I love that. That was perfectly put. Perfectly. And seeing it from both sides. That was a brilliant answer. It has been so nice chatting with you. You know what? I have to say, when I met you at ADE, I knew straight away that I was going to love you. And now we've had this chat. I've had a big smile on my face throughout this whole conversation. You're just like such a bright, bubbly, lovely person. And I've loved listening about your journey. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing this space with me.
Well, the feeling is very mutual. As soon as we met, the sweet hug exchange, and we only WhatsApp 3 times. The feeling was very mutual, and has been such a pleasure of a conversation with you, and I can't thank you enough for having me be a part of it.
No, thank you. It's been lovely. I've just as I said from the beginning, when somebody tells a story and you really imagine it, everything that they're saying, that's how I've felt this whole conversation. So it's been absolutely lovely. Thank you so much. And I hope we get to see each other again soon in person.
Me too. I'm coming to Ibiza for IMS. I'm manifesting.
Yes, yes. See, that will be literally in a click of a finger. It's going to be IMS again. So I'll see you very soon.
You know it. As soon as the holidays are over, and the holidays are tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's it. We plan IMS. We plan UMF, and then we plan IMS.
Perfect.
So I'll see you day after tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll
right?
see you in a couple of days. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.